Hello, I'm Horceror. I want to find out what makes every single killer tick. There's one big glaring issue with that though. I play the Nemesis, essentially only the Nemesis. I physically cannot get thousands of hours of experience on every single character. So, I'm going to be interviewing people that do have those thousands of hours. One for every single killer. Welcome to Stars of the Fog. Alright, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Stars of the Fog. My guest today is the one that uses birds, paints pictures, and feeds survivors to said birds. My guest today, one of the most prolific artist players. Well, I'm going to stop yapping and let her introduce herself. So, my esteemed, humble, fantastic guest today. Who are you? What are you known for? And why the artist?
Well, my name is Carn or Carniveris, and I am the resident bird lady. I am the artist main. Very thankful to have earned that title over the years. And the artist is, for lack of a better word, probably my soulmate killer. She is the killer that, after years of trying other people, just connects them best with my brain. Ever since the PTB in 2021, I've just been like, this is my killer, and nobody else is compared to her. So that's why the artist.
And got into her in 2021, but like, did you start playing Dead by Daylight in 2021, or was that earlier on, or how did we get into DbD? Like, what was the very beginning of Carniveris in the Fog?
So I've been playing DbD since 2016, 2017, but I didn't have my own PC, so I would actually go over to my friend's house and play DbD. We would take turns going back and forth, but I didn't get my own PC until 2021, and that our artist came out in the latter half of 2021, but I got it in February of 2021. So I kind of got more obsessed with DbD then. I've always been aware of the game. I've always played the game. I've always enjoyed it, but I didn't get like heavily into DbD until 2021.
The very beginnings of DbD for Carn, there's a little bit of a difference between, 2016, 2017, and 2021. A couple years, I would say. So, did you really begin as like a killer player, or did you do Survivor first? And how did we really what was the journey to playing the artist like? Because if you started before 2021, I don't think she was in the game yet. So what was the journey of like mains and what you were playing, and what was all of that like?
So the friend that got me into DbD was actually a Survivor main. He was a Lori main back in the day. So he has Claudette and Jake Legacy on his account, but unfortunately no Megacy because he hates Meg and I love Meg. And so I would beg to put bullet points into Meg, and he'd go, no, we don't need her. So unfortunately it's just the Jake and the Claudette Legacy. But if Lori had Legacy, it would be a sure thing. But we actually just played Survivor. I have the barest memories of playing like Trapper on a 2-window shack before the entity ever blocked the windows. But mainly we only played Survivor. We would take turns back and forth, just kind of playing the game. I didn't read perks. I didn't care about builds. I just was like, I barely knew what to do. I still barely know what to do now, but that's kind of, I didn't really start playing killer until 2021, and then I kind of played both sides pretty evenly. I actually started out as a Twins main. Twins had just come out, and then I went into being a Legion main, and then a Pig main, and then finally Artist came out, and we've been locked ever since.
Okay, so Twins to Legion to Pig to Artist. Like, I'm not really seeing the connective tissue. So what was like the change? Like, how did we get to Artists from, because like I look at Twins, I look at Legion, I look at Pig, I look at Artist. I don't see a lot of similarities between them. So what was like each stop in the journey, I guess? I'm not really sure how to ask it better than that.
Yeah, so I actually have a screenshot of my first ever Twins match, but before I started playing Twins, I kind of looked up every single killer in the game. I actually would have been a Hag main because my friend's nickname for me is Hag, so I was like, I should play the killer that's called the Hag. But I kind of went through them, and Twins had just come out, so they were all the way at the bottom of the list, and I loved the gore of Victor sticking out of her chest. I always thought that was pretty interesting, and I like that it was 2 powers in one. I don't recommend learning killer on Twins. For as bugged as they are, trying to learn 2 killer powers when you have like negligible amounts of hours in the game is pretty rough. So I got beat up pretty frequently, especially in like the old cross off days. But I just loved Twins. I thought it was so fun to play 2 different killers, and I primarily used Victor. I would get everyone injured, and then I would try to play 4 on the floor. I still do now. But Twins was like my first ever love, and I played them pretty regularly alongside playing Survivor. And then I became a Legion main because I loved how fast Victor was. I was like, I should play a killer that's always fast, like Legion. And I had pink hair at the time, so it was a no-brainer to become a Susie main. Still wasn't very good, but I did achieve my first ever 4K with Legion on Lyries. I also remember this like very vividly. I was very proud of myself, and now it's like nothing, but it's still just so nice to like remember your first 4K. Then I transitioned to being a pig main just because like my friend was a pig main at the time, and we would always be in Discord VCs together, like both playing killer. I don't know why we wouldn't just play Survivor together, but she would be playing Pig and I would be playing Legion. And then when I would be waiting for a match, I would watch her play, and I thought the killer's power was pretty interesting. So then we kind of swapped, or not really swapped, but I decided to pick up Pig, and I had a lot of fun. I still really appreciate my time as a Pig main just because Pig is super fun, pretty versatile, and her buff dash is insane now. Then Artist came out in November 2021, and I saw her dev leak. I still remember the dev leaks with, I don't remember the name of the Twitter account, but I remember when everything was kind of going crazy and like Behavior couldn't keep a chapter a secret to save their lives, unfortunately. But I remember the dev leak, and I saw her face and her little T-pose on, I think they used UE4, but I saw her face in the engine, and I was like, that is my killer. And then her PTB, it was so bad because I didn't know I could just stay on the PTB for my stream. Like now I'll just make them suffer through whatever I want. But I would play public servers, and then when I would get off of stream, I would re-download the PTB. I would play Artist, and then I would get back off of the PTB to play regular DbD the next time that I streamed. So I played her so much on the PTB.
So what was like her initial appeal? Because I know obviously what you just said with the seeing her leak, but like when you first saw Artist, it was like a visual thing, sure, because that's all we had on Twitter. But what was like the draw? Like, do you feel like you played more than one game and then it clicked, or like was it an overtime thing? And just like really, how long do you feel like it was until you got the Artist and became like, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing, like pretty much every game?
Just her power in general is like so fun to me. I love the fact that she is like a ranged and a recon killer. I feel like people kind of forget like the recon part of just information gathering. I love the fact that she has such great map control. The fact that I can be on one side of Azerov's and know what the survivor's doing on the other side while I'm chasing a survivor is super fun. I always call myself rude whenever I'm doing that. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not giving you my full attention while I'm trying to down their teammates across the map. And I know that the poor survivor is like, what is this Artist doing? And I'm just like, oh, I can see their swarm in the distance. I feel like I can do it here, and I'm just missing the survivor that's 2 feet in front of me that I could have just M1'd 10 minutes ago. But
No, that's so real. I love ego whipping.
I just love how it's so mean. I always feel like such a dick when I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm so sorry. This is just funnier for me. I just love how much goes into her power, and I know why people don't like to play her, and I know why she's at the bottom 4 of the pick rate, but everything about her has just always been pretty fun for me. And then in terms of when I felt comfortable, when I felt like the best with her, or like when I was like, oh yeah, I felt confident enough. I was pretty unemployed at the time, so I would play DbD for like a solid 16 hours a day. I would wake up, I would play DbD, and then I would stream DbD. And then after I was done streaming for like 4-ish hours, I would get off of the stream, and then I would play more DbD. So I just kind of pretty much dedicated to my life to getting better at her. Still not that great with her. Trying my best, honestly. These survivors are really, really gearing on me, but I would just play so much Artist, and it was ridiculous. And finally, I want to say January or February, people kind of started to realize like I was the person playing the Artist, and then nobody played her at the time. Nobody still plays her, but nobody played her at the time. And then in April is when I kind of got when I posted my guide, and then that kind of got a lot of traction because then people were like, oh, hey, this is an actual guide on how to play the killer. Because a lot of the initial guides at the beginning were pretty misleading in my opinion. A lot of them recommended really obscure tactics at the palette, which is why I also kind of say never really take the guides that come out immediately when a killer comes out. Take them with a grain of salt, because the early Artist guides, they recommend using 2 crows at a palette, like placing 1 crow in the middle of the palette and then placing 1 crow at the end of the loop, and then just kind of herding the survivor into them, which now is
insane to say. Yeah,
a very roundabout way to just waste your time. Insane to say, but that's like what the guides when she first came out recommended. And then also shotgunning was the thing. I think Scott Jund coined the term. I think it's a waste of time. It is probably the best way to have the worst time playing Artist. You waste so much time with your power. You get slowed down. The survivors look at you like you're an idiot, and you just kind of don't really gain any skill from it. I always try to treat her power like a hunter's hatchet, using one at a time, maybe two. But the early artist guides recommend like once the survivors swarm, just fire off 3 crows and hope for the best. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? There's no way that this is the guide. There's no way this is what you're teaching people. But that guide came out in April of 2022, and then that's when people kind of started to watch me and know who I was.
Yeah, I feel that though. Like I specifically, because sorry, self promo, but like I also made a Nemesis guide, and I specifically went out of my way to like not look at any other guides when I was making it, because I saw it, I'm like, okay, this came out the month he was released, I'm gonna do my own thing. And then I made my own thing, and I still haven't watched them, and like I'll probably go back later and like look just for interest purposes now that you brought it up, and I didn't really think of it before. But yeah, like it's always interesting to see like how a character has evolved over time, and like what the initial reaction is versus like what it is more seasoned like down the line years later.
Yeah, like I don't knock anyone that created the guide when it first came out, but it definitely is like
surface level.
Yeah, it's very surface level because it's just people trying to get a video out, which I completely respect. But now it's just kind of gotten to the point where there's so much to these killers' powers, especially as they come out, that you don't know what you don't know until very, very like 100 hours into it.
You just kind of don't know all the things that make them tick yet. But with artists, what do you think you enjoy the absolute most about them? Like, you say the power is satisfying, you enjoy it, you like the recon, you like the range, but like if there's like a one thing, the number one thing, if you were asked, is like the best part of artists for you, the thing that you enjoy the most, the thing that gives you that little itch in your brain, like attack visually, sound wise, anything at all. What is like the absolute tip top of the iceberg for you?
If it's like what scratches my brain the most, it is definitely the multi-swarm effect with severed hands. I love hearing everybody get swarmed all at once, and then knowing I have like up to 3, sometimes 4 if I'm running ink egg, which is very rare, but up to 3 people that I could just make miserable right at the beginning of the match. That's probably my favorite thing. I love Lethal Pursuer, and the new spawn statistics for survivors is an insane buff on the killer part, and it is so fun. It is my favorite thing in the entire world. I actually had someone recognize me the other day. It was one of my viewers, where they were like, yeah, 2 of us got hit initially with the swarm at the beginning, and I knew exactly that it was you. And it made me super happy because I was like, it's been so nice, especially because she's been bugged for so long, that like coming back to it. She's still bugged, but kind of coming back into these new rules with Lethal Pursuer and getting to have so many survivors, like getting to have my survivors so close to each other just for free has been super nice.
Okay, so just how it feels, survivors spawning closer together and getting more value from the add-on.
Yeah, because don't let my chat hear this, but I don't always run severed hands, but I feel like the usefulness of severed hands and the playability of it, she has one of the highest skill ceilings in the game. So even if you're kind of at a baseline, oh, I'm just putting a crow at a pallet, like there's so much that you can do. And just because they're swarmed with severed hands doesn't mean I'm going to hit them. But it's just kind of the fact that I'm able to apply pressure to everybody at once and reap the benefits from it. And
you did kind of bring up like the bug earlier with like bugs in general, and I don't know anything about artists. I don't know what bugs affect her, but like does artists have any bugs that are like really detrimental, really apparent, really obvious, really common that people might not know about if they don't play the artist? Like, is there anything that's just inherently like, wow, this kind of sucks and I hope they fix it soon?
For a long time, she had what I called gaslight bugs, where if you don't play her, you don't know that they're real. And it's kind of like in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's trying to explain who Pepe Sylvia is. You're like, well, there's Pepe Sylvia. And I'm like pointing at like a wall with a bunch of red tape. And I'm like, I promise you this is bugged because it feels like this normally, but then it actually feels like this right now. But now her most significant one is the delay in the swarm aura. And just like kind of the swarm in general, it hits the survivors like half a second to a full second after it actually does. So it's been a little bit rough recently trying to play around that because I track visually, or I track through sound rather than visually. So I have to now change gears and actually see where my survivors are going instead of tracking like the sound of the swarm, because most of my chases are kind of through walls or at medium distances. Like I'm very rarely in active chase with people, like hearing their chase music, but the delay in the swarm aura is kind of her biggest one. Then there's been some with an acceleration bug where like once the crows are past a certain distance, they're not moving at the same speed that they normally should. The physics of the crows and the environment has been bugged. Again, it's all gaslight bugs, right? Like, how do you explain to a dev, like, hey, the acceleration once it's past 30 meters is off because it's supposed to move at this speed, but it actually moves at this speed? Like, It's so hard to explain.
Like, it's not like a super visual thing.
Yeah, it's not like Twins where it's like, hey, I swapped to Victor and now he's upside down, right?
Yeah. And then like with Nemesis, it's like I throw the whip and I don't play the animation and I don't make the sound. Like that's, you can see that one.
Yeah, the survivor gets it. Or I don't know if the bug is still in the game, but the way if you use 2 specific Nemi add-ons and then get rid of the zombies, they're invisible.
No, they got rid of that.
I think that should have been a base kit. That was funny. I only did it one match. I did it for one match and it was funny.
Aside from the big 3, like if Nemesis gets a bug, like they are very good at squashing it because for whatever fucking reason, Nemesis, when he gets a bug, makes him very good. Like there was the bug where you cannot duck a whip at all if it can hit you when you're standing and hit you with your ducking, so there's no counterplay. The one where zombies just turn invisible, and like this one was relatively recent. Like play with your food, just
that one. Yeah, that was fun.
Not losing stacks. I actually had like a collab lined up for that was going to be really cool, but then like they kill switched him like next day, which like obviously they should have because like that bug was egregious, but like it was going to be really fun. It was going to be like me on RPD and then like 4 big survivor streamers playing against the canon Nemesis, and I was just gonna it was gonna be neat, and we didn't get to do that because they kill switched him, which again fine, but
God forbid we have fun.
God forbid we have fun. Don't kill switch him in customs though.
Yeah. No, I mean, we had to deal with that balanced landing bug with survivors for like way too long.
Yeah, they didn't kill switch that either. It's like, it's...
No, they were just like, it'll be fine. We'll see. And you're like, please? Like, please? Poor M1 killers they can't do anything about it. There's a whole reason why you changed balance landing in the first place.
But just like a bunch of bullshit having to deal with. I will say it's probably not the case as much with artists specifically because, that's your Pookie Bear. That's your soulmate killer, as you said. But if you had to choose something about her that you specifically dislike the most, aside from like, getting gaslit by bugs, what would it be? Just like, is there anything that, if not for all the positives she had, would be bad enough to make you drop her?
Honestly, I don't really have any negatives for her. I think there are some, like, the annoyances come from the survivors themselves, not necessarily like her. Back in the day, I feel like 2023, 2024, people were more inclined to actually loop a tile. Now they just leave. I think it's just like the generation of survivor that we have right now, though, not necessarily the artist. But I feel like her counterplay is the only annoying thing, but that's not really like a her thing. I don't have any like hatred for anything that happens with her. Like anytime I'm playing a different killer, I'm like, God, I really wish I was playing the artist right now.
I'm the exact same.
We got Springtrap's adapt, and I was like, all right, I don't have to play Freddy anymore. I'm done. And then I went to go play artist for 4 hours straight.
No, I did the exact same thing.
I was like, I got my adept. Who cares anymore?
No, exactly. I got my adept. I hard tunneled at 5, by the way, classic. But then his achievement is like bugged right now. Well, the achievement isn't, but the thing that would apply to it, which is grabbing someone in his office, is bugged right now. So like no one's using the doors, so I can't even get it, and it would take me an extremely long time. So I'm just like, fuck this, I'm gonna go back to Nemesis, bye bye. And then it's just like every time I play a different killer, it doesn't even matter who it is. It's like, I could have gotten a hit there with Nemesis. I could have just went around this pallet with Nemesis. I didn't have to play this pallet with Nemesis. I could just break that pallet with Nemesis. It's just like every time, like my brain is just like, swap back to the Nemesis. And
yeah, it's so bad. I have a list of killers that's actually banned in my channel because I hate playing them so much. Like I'll have just one match where I'm like, if I play this killer ever again, I'm gonna uninstall Dead by Daylight. It's like the Night, sorry Pixie, Singularity, Skull Merchant, Hag. I hate playing Hag. I hate playing 110 killers. I just have so many killers that I'm like, I cannot play them anymore, and I actually refuse to play them just because they annoy me so much. And like, there's killers that I tolerate, there's killers that I don't mind playing, and then there's like the artist. Yeah,
I'm kind of the same way. I hate Hag, man. Like it's like a 50,000 channel point redeem for one game of Hag, and that is like it. Oh my God.
Mine's locked behind a paywall, but I also have like I have a channel point redemption where it's like you can choose a night match or a Skull Merchant match, and that's like the most that I'll get around because I have P100 Skull Merchant because it was a subathon incentive, and like I sometimes don't mind night, but for Singularity and for Hag, it's locked behind a paywall, or I have a 1,000,000 point channel redemption where I'm like, you can choose if I'll be a Hag main for a day, but
wow.
It's 1,000,000 channel points, though. It takes 4 years to earn.
Yeah, I have one for going bald for 5 million.
Aren't you bald already?
What the hell? Well, just asking very normally right quick. So you don't like playing some killers. How do you feel about the Nemesis? I asked very normally, grabbing my desk very normally.
Nemi is actually I mean, you see my progress on P100ing him.
Nice.
Nemi is probably my second favorite killer in the game. I did have a brief stint where I enjoyed playing the mobility killers like Blight and like Oni, but then they took out Blight's hug text, and then they changed the way that Oni's everything works. So I don't play them as much as I used to, but Nemi is actually my second favorite killer, which is so, I don't even know how it happened. I just enjoyed playing him so much. But I do have a cursed build that I refuse to change. I don't run any other perks on him besides this set.
Oh no.
I typically run. I run Coup, Bamboozle, and Jolt on him, and then my add-on. My add-ons are the ones that make the zombies faster. Just the what is it, the Eerie badge and then the purple one. Those are the only add-ons I run. I'll bring Black Wards for them.
Ink ribbon, yeah. I mean, that's fine. That's just like a playstyle choice thing. It's like, do you want more agency for yourself, or do you want more for your zombies? Like, that's kind of, it's just what you enjoy. That's fine.
No, I just want, I want Catherine and Kevin to live their best life. But Nemi's actually my number 2. So it's like artist, and then the only way I was able to get around 2v8, because I hated playing 2v8 when it was in the game. I hate playing 2v8 in general because they're never going to add her in 2v8. So I just kind of get shafted for 3 weeks with really long queue times and nothing to do. Nemi is definitely my number 2, which again, I don't know how that happened, but he's my favorite besides the artist.
Dude, fuck yes.
I think he's staying at P69 though. I don't know if I'm going to P100 him because I kind of like P69 Nemesis.
I don't know.
Yeah, before outing a P100 Nemesis with Coup and Jolt.
Yeah, but that's kind of funny though.
My favorite, I kind of wish I P100 people faster because I want to have like a bunch of P100 killers, and then my name is just I'm doing a daily. I think it's funny to have P100 killers and you're just doing a daily. Oh, but dailies aren't even the thing anymore. Damn.
Well, you did mention with, having favorites, your favorite being the artist, of course, and running into, people that really enjoy the artist. But like with the community and killers, obviously there's going to be some that are more or less liked. But how frequently do you really run into fans of the artist, or like people that really hate the artist? And just in general, how do you feel the community feels about the artist?
It's not as bad as it was before. I've actually had people like ban me from their chat for being an artist main, and no joke. And like there's people's chats that I'm friends with, like Tony the Duff, where like you can't say artist in his chat because he hates artists so much. But I don't get a lot of hate for being an artist main. I just kind of get some people that are really annoyed when they go against me, to the point where I get like the nasty comments on my Steam profile, which don't really bother me. But when I do get people that really like the artist, it's always super pleasant, because it's not even like a tooting my own horn thing. It's just people don't play her, but they're like, I've never gone against an artist like this, or I've never had an artist match that was this fun. Like that is probably my favorite thing, and it happens not as frequently as I'd like, but it does happen pretty often, and it is super nice just for someone to be like, oh, I had fun going against you as artist, because I know she's not fun to go against. I know that there's so many aspects of her that's super frustrating to deal with. So I get more love than I do hate, but when I do get hate, oh my goodness, it's pretty funny. Like my most recent I have a comment from somebody that said, boring Sweatlord killer main that's dog water on artists and only gets downed on bot solo queue teammates. And I was like, fair enough. I guess this happens. But no, I get a lot of like positive. Like I live in a really nice little bubble of DbD, so I don't really get a lot of hate.
I mean, that's kind of the important thing about, streaming and being a one trick is, curating your community and having people that don't suck. I actually just got a really nice message from like a longtime community member when I hit partner that was saying that they really appreciate how I curated my community and that they look up to me. I was like, oh my God, like got me crying and shit.
I'm blushing.
I ironically, I was tearing. I mean, this was also like the day after my hitting partner stream, and I was sobbing for like 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, no, I got my partner email middle of the day at work, and I got it like in front of my manager, and I was like, I can't explain why I'm happy, but I'm just really happy. She's like, get back to work, and I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. She let me cry in the office for a little bit, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back.
But yeah, I got mine like an hour before stream. It was bad. It was real bad. I didn't even know it was my partner's stream until I went live. So, but yeah, like with that type of thing, I think the most recent comment I got, not really a comment, it was just like, EGC Salt, and it was talking about like someone was unironically mad because in the end game, after 5 gens were done on Eerie of CROWS, which is really convenient for this podcast now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But on Area Crows, I zom dropped someone, which is when you drop a contaminated survivor off your shoulder from carrying them onto a zombie. They get instantly downed again, then you can like walk them further. So I could put him upstairs in the sky basement of Erie at the end game, and just like he was mad about it. But like with the zom drop, and you know, it's a tech. I wouldn't say it's like a super intensive tech, but with Artist, are there any like specific techs that you want to like bring up and talk about? I know vaguely of slingshotting, but
don't you ever say those words in front of me ever again. Don't you ever say slingshot in front of me.
Okay, my mistake. No.
I find you say those words, horceror.
My mistake. I'll re-record. My bad.
It's staggered hit. Don't ever say slingshot again. Slingshot doesn't make any sense. Nah, gun to your head. It's a staggered hit.
Okay, it's just that's why I'm re-recording, because there's a gun to my head. Oh my god.
I'll put the gun away now. No, but okay.
So with Artist and her techs.
No, you don't have to re-record. You don't have to re-record.
No, I'm doing it now. No, I'm doing it. Gun to my head. So with Artist and her techs. So with Artist, are there any techs? Because I know vaguely about the staggered hit. And you know, like, so what can she really do?
There's a couple of things with her. With the aforementioned staggered hit. I don't know if you know about this.
A little bit, yeah.
The staggered hit is where you place one crow and then you walk about 70% of the meter and then you place another crow, and the swarm has a built-in invincibility buffer, but that distance helps. It's hard to explain like distance-wise or time-wise. Easiest way to explain it is 70% of the gauge, and then you walk, and then after the survivor is initially swarmed, you're able to kind of hit them. But this also gets bypassed if you run severed hands. This was taken away on the PTP, so I take this with a grain of salt. I didn't actually check to see if this works anymore. But if you run severed hands, the survivor that gets swarmed by their friend doesn't have the invincibility buffer, so you're able to hit them at a much closer distance. So I don't know if that's a tech more than it is like might be an implemented feature, but the staggered hit's pretty promising. The perch tech, this is an environmental thing, and it doesn't work on every single map, but the crows don't go down or up unless they're at an initial divot or like a difference of elevation. So like they'll go upstairs or go downstairs, but once they're on a high enough plane, they won't go down. So you can hit on, Dead Dog, for example, if you're on the top of the saloon or on the gallows, you'll be able to hit the opposing side. So like if you're on top of the gallows, the crow that you place will hit the survivor on the second level of the saloon. You can kind of play from a field there. You can do this on Haddonfield as well. But then the perch tech, there are specific rocks and like barrels where you can put the crow on top of the rock or barrel. It has to be a very specific environmental like box, which is why it's not like commonly used, because no one has like time to go around and like be like, does this rock work or does this rock work? But if it points towards you in a specific manner, or if it has like a small enough box, you can place your crow on top of the environment, and then you'll be able to hit the second level from the ground floor. And then there's other things that are kind of not really gatekept, but if behavior knows about them, they'll take them away. So if you are an artist main, you'll find them eventually. And when you do find them eventually, don't say anything about them. Just keep playing. That's not a joke, by the way. I just don't want behavior to know certain things. Be like, please, just stop making Twitter posts about it, all right?
Man, I've never even heard of the perch tech. That's pretty frickin' neat. But with the whole like Dead Dog thing where you can shoot across the gallows to the other side, I didn't think that would be a thing because they're different heights in my eyeballs. But like, what's your favorite map and what's your least favorite map? And are there any specific maps that you think are just really good for the artist but you don't really enjoy playing on them, or are they the same as the least and most favorite map to you personally?
So my favorite maps are not the best maps, if that makes sense. Like my favorite map is Temple of Purgation, but that's because it's like visually my favorite. It is pretty annoying, the difference in elevation sometimes, but like Temple of Purgation has been my favorite map since, honestly, for a hot minute. When was Plague added? I've always loved Temple of Purgation, and it is actually a relatively good artist map. But what a good map is kind of more of a personal thing for her rather than as anything else. There is issues with maps that have not necessarily multiple levels, but the ability to change what floor you're on quickly. So like Meat Plant, even though it is technically 2 stories, is not that big of a deal because the staircases are pretty far enough that you're able to deal with it in an easy manner. But the like RPD is really annoying because there's staircases everywhere. So the hallways are super crowded, and you're not able to loop as efficiently because of it. And then once you finally get a crow on a survivor, but they're a little bit distanced away, they've already got on the second story and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you're not able to be as fun as you normally can be on RPD, which is why I don't like it all that often. Dead Dog is actually one of my least favorite maps, but you can do well on it. I just hate playing on Dead Dog. I feel like it's quick run to main simulator.
No, it's real.
And I just, any map that's just quick run to main, I feel like is the most boring, because I feel like the survivors just don't really, there's no pizzazz there. Like, I want maps that have a readily available enough jungle gems and pallets that, like, you can really allow survivors to showcase their looping skills, which is what I want. I don't really want like a Timmy two-tap every single game. Like, I want to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But I actually don't like Wrecker's Yard, even though I think it's the most balanced map in the game, because of how small it is. Like, I feel like the best artist maps are one-ish level. I don't really mind hills or anything, because you can bypass hills pretty easily, but like one-ish level of like a medium size that has enough variables for survivors to play on. So like, I don't really mind any of the Mac maps. The only reason why I don't like the Macmillan maps, or like the map offerings, even though RIP map offerings, is because the people that bring them are always so boring.
Real, yeah.
But the Auto Haven's fine. Coldwind is fine. The Garden of Joy maps, like Garden of Joy, and then or like Withered Isle, I guess. And then the map that came with Sable and the Unknown isn't too bad. It's just, again, quick run to main simulator. But you can do well on any map with the artist, but there are some that are more obnoxious to play on. So like, I don't really like Dead Dog. I don't really like the map with the portals, mainly because I'm like, I'm just not going downstairs. There's no reason for me to go down there. Especially because you end up getting like a pretty easy 3 or 4 gen if you just pay attention. Haddonfield is pitifully easy to win on, so I hate playing on Haddonfield because I feel like it's boring. And then I think Ormond's really nice. I have the newest Ormond map I don't like playing on because of like all of the weird divots that's in there. Like, not the...
Yeah, there's a lot of elevation stuff in like the holes, and then main is also a go up. Yeah, so I could see that.
Yeah, it's just weird. The difference in elevation is what fucks with you the most. So that's kind of why I don't like them. But if I had to choose my favorite map, it's probably Temple of Purgation. If I had to choose my least favorite map, I hate getting sent to Dead Dog.
Yeah, not that really have to worry about getting sent to anywhere anymore, thankfully. Very cool. Very nice.
I know. And with the spawn changes, behavior really said, we got you, killer mains, just for the moment.
And how does that really tie into like how strong the killer is? Like, not necessarily just like, oh yeah, how strong is this killer on every single map, but with maps and, you know, the variants in them and just in general type deal, how strong do you think that artist is with your level of skill on them, your reasoning, your experience, all of that? Because tier lists vary, but I want to hear it from you.
Oh, if we're talking my skill level, F tier.
Ain't no way.
Never won a game of DbD in my life. But it's kind of hard because I feel like I have I don't want it to be just my opinion, because it's a killer that I'm very comfortable with. So I feel like she's stronger than if I were to play someone like Legion, right? Or not even Legion, sorry. If I were to play someone like Nurse or Blight. Objectively, the best killers in the game, but I am not very comfortable with them, or I don't like playing them. So obviously my kill rate's going to be a little bit lower. But if you take other people's tier lists, she's kind of gotten power crept, which I agree with. Like, I would say that she's very solidly A tier, but she's kind of getting knocked into the B tier because of the power creep. Like, survivors are getting smarter. I'll shit talk them all I want. They are getting smarter. They're smarter than they are now than they have been when I had first started playing the artist. So I always feel bad for baby birdies, because they're like, I keep getting my ass handed to me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's just the survivors. Like, they're smarter. They're still pretty stupid, don't get me wrong, but they adapt better, and the way that they loop is completely different than how it was when I first started playing DbD. But I would put her at solid A tier. However, I think people kind of considered her to be high B tier. Like, she is still a very strong killer. She's still a very good killer. And because there's not a lot of artist mains in general, it's easy to sneak up on survivors that don't know what to do, because they're not used to going against a really good version of the artist. It's kind of like the same thing with like a really good Singularity, right? Or I guess Singularity is a higher tier than artist, but like getting a really good killer that you're like, I've never gone against someone who's good at this killer, so it feels different and I don't know what to do. So that's kind of where I think a lot of the advantages.
Does that tie kind of into like perks or add-ons? Because those are going to be things that really like vary how playstyle stuff goes. But I want to talk about add-ons first, because, you know, Carn and Severed Hands, that's like the ship on that's like the ship. I've seen a lot of it. It's like,
oh, my beloved.
if you try to tear away your severed hands from Carn, she's going to hold you at gunpoint, as I've been already. But in general, how do you feel about artist add-ons? Do you think they're balanced, overtuned, undertuned, and just like, I already know your favorite add-on, severed hands, but what are your favorite add-ons to run?
She and Pyramid Head are kind of locked and loaded with never seeing any changes to them ever. Behavior did try most recently. I don't know when this will come out, but before Springtrap came out, they attempted to offer changes to the artist add-ons that were so miserable to play with that pretty much anyone that played her was like, please don't do this. Why? What did we do to deserve this? We haven't done anything. Her add-ons are very fun. There is definitely some benefits to them. I feel like with Severed Hands, it changes the way that survivors have to react and kind of loop together because they're not used to they can't group up, right? Like it's like a version of Legion that you have to deal with. Like you can't just be right next to your teammate all the entire time. Like you have to split up, which can be a good or a bad thing. Her add-ons, for the most part, unfortunately, don't have a lot of merit, but when you get comfortable with a certain combination, then it is really super nice. Like my favorites, besides Severed Hands, is Severed Tongue. It decreases the speed debuff that you get after you send off CROWS, which is super nice because a lot of survivors W space. Velvet Fabric, which is a yellow add-on that allows you to see a swarm aura for a total of 4 seconds.
Oh, but don't you mean a green add-on?
Okay, well, back in my day, it was a yellow add-on. I don't know what's blue in the game, so it's a yellow add-on, and then you can just do a little asterisk. Let me pull up the add-on list actually, because now I don't know what colors they are. Oh God.
Yellows are greens and greens are blues.
Ew. Why would they do that?
Rarities. I don't know.
I don't like the blue thing. What is wrong with you? Why are you blue?
Why are you blue?
Okay, so green add-on. Oh, that's so gross. All right. But anyway, Velvet Fabric allows you to see the swarm aura for a total of 4 seconds because it adds another 1.5 seconds. This one is really good. I kind of consider this to be like a training wheel add-on because it allows you to see the swarm aura, but it's also just very nice no matter how many hours you have in the artist because survivors like to change where they're running to and fro, especially from a longer distance. But then Thick Tar and Festering Carrion kind of do the same thing, but they also don't. So Thick Tar adds a 0.5 second repel timer to survivors when they are swarmed, and then Festering Carrion takes away 0.5 second from your cooldown. It does not stack, unfortunately. I kind of wish it did. So like even if you send off all 3 CROWS, it only decreases it by like 0.5 second. But those are probably my top 5 favorite add-ons. Most of her green, now blue add-ons are status effects. So like there's blindness, exhaustion, obliviousness, the Sloppy Butcher add-on with hemorrhage and mangled. That's more of a personal preference for like using them. Like there's some people that love the fact that survivors get exhausted when they're swarmed. So it's more of up to you what you like. But I feel like Thorny Nest is probably my favorite just because having Sloppy Butcher in an add-on is so efficient, especially if you pair it with an anti-healing build. And then aside from Thick Tar, her brown add-ons really don't add much because it has to do with like the Killer Instinct. I don't like the Killer Instinct because it means that I missed. So I don't like being reminded that I missed. Like it's one thing for a Legion to hear Killer Instinct because it's like, oh, that's free real estate. But for an artist, it just means that I missed the survivor and it bothers me. And then
I wish my Killer Instinct was longer. That would be cool.
The Killer, especially like, oh, you want Killer Instinct for like what, 3 or 4 seconds? You're like, no, actually, thank you so much for asking. But no, that sounds miserable. Her brown add-ons are okay. Her yellow/green add-ons are personal preference add-ons. So like Still Life Crow, which I don't like anything that affects the idle timer. They're idle in the air for baseline 10 seconds. And then you can either do Chocolate Corn or Still Life Crow for 2 or 4 seconds respectively. I don't like anything that affects it. However, if you happen to like camping hooks, those add-ons are super fun to play with. So it's more of a personal preference for that one. And then, yeah, I've bypassed so many built-in BTs with the CROWS. That's survivors' fault for unhooking in front of me in my general area while I was looking to make sure that they were unhooking in my general area before my CROWS disintegrated. But that's their fault. I would say automatic drawing is probably underrated. This was actually one of the proposed add-ons that I was kind of like, you guys can keep this proposed change. It's pretty nice, but it makes it takes 2 seconds for the survivors to come back after the idle timer decreases, and this makes it pretty much negligible, which is super nice for survivors that are W spacing. Untitled Agony, which is her hinder add-on, is pretty fun. It's the difference between a fast vault and a medium vault. So if you're able to kind of keep up on the survivors, it's super nice. And then when you get into her purple add-ons, these I feel like are kind of the more, not really controversial ones, but Ink Egg, the people that live and die by Ink Egg live and die by Ink Egg. So this one gives you another CROW, but it reduces the idle timer by 8 seconds. So I don't like it because I prefer the 10 seconds just kind of trial and error. I like the way that I play with other add-ons more than I do with Ink Egg, but then I have artist friends like Vez that swear by Ink Egg, and I hate using it. So it's you either are an Ink Egg person or you're not. It's not really like a oh, I just sometimes use this add-on. Like I just don't really like it. Baby Boots, I feel like people consider it to be the training wheel add-on, and it's not, because I feel like it just teaches you such bad habits. It is I wish it was like glowing concoction, but it's not. It's more of, you see the aura of survivors when they're within 5 meters of an idle crow, and it's banned in comp. I play worse with it because of how much it just affects the gameplay. I feel like it sucks, and survivors don't stay at loops anyway, so what are you placing a crow here for? I would say I would really want to see a change in her eerie add-ons. One just gives you the exposed status effect for 4 seconds after they repel, which is nothing. You basically have to be on top of the survivor, and if you have a survivor with half a brain, it doesn't do anything because they'll just stop repelling. And like, yes, you get the M1, but the chase is just so weird. And the other one, which is another one that they propose to change to, it takes away a crow for some reason. So you only have 2 crows, and then you gain the undetectable status effect once you send off both crows. Not when you send off a crow, it's just both crows. So you're undetectable for 9 seconds on a killer that is very loud. It's useless because people can hear you coming a mile away. She's also 6 feet tall.
Ooh, tall women.
So she you can see her. You can see her over most loops anyway, so it's just there's so much of her add-ons are useless in personal preference, which is why they kind of proposed changing. I think it was like 7 add-ons, and then they decided, we're like, never mind, nothing's getting changed. And I'm like, yeah, that was actually the preference. I would love to see like changes to crow setting speed. That would be super nice because it takes a second to set a crow, and it would be so fun if that was like half a second. Or like something to change the crow speed would, like when it actually shoots off in the environment, would be super interesting to play with. Or giving, instead of Matias's Baby Boots, having a glowing concoction type add-on like Trickster and Hunters have, would be super fun. I feel like that would be super selfish though, in my opinion, getting glowing concoction. But it would be nice to see where I downed a survivor across the map, because I've had so many times where I've downed a survivor, I'm on one end and I have no clue where they are. So by the time I maybe get into the area, they've already been fully healed because their teammates around, and I'm like, I just don't know where you guys are. But her and Pyramid Head's a little bit worse because his add-ons are like, what are you running besides double range, to be honest, for when you play Pyramid Head? But her
Duration if you're learning, I guess, but
yeah. Like what else can you run? It's not quite as bad with Artist, but it's either like pick a purple add-on or pick a status effect and hope for the best. Like if you're running the training wheel add-ons, it's super nice and I still use Festering Carrion and Thick Tar and Velvet Fabric all the time, but it's basically pick a purple add-on and pray half the time.
yeah, pretty much. But like with other things that you run, how about perks on the other side of things that you have to choose? Not that you read them very often, as you said earlier, but like, do you think there's any perks that Artist uses specifically better than any other killer in the game? And what's your favorite perk if you had to choose one?
Lethal Pursuer. I love Lethal Pursuer. I would rather run Lethal Pursuer and no other perk. I am an early game person. I am not an end game person. I hate playing an end game. Some people thrive in it. They love like that race against the clock. I hate it. So I like to break morale as much as possible in the first few gens. So I prefer Lethal Pursuer over anything else, but kind of like Huntress, Artist uses aura add-on or aura reading perks better than anyone in the game, in my opinion. Even perks like Gearhead, right? Where it's like, why do I want to know where someone is on a gen across the map? She can take advantage of that, because even if she is across the map, as long as it's on the same level, she can just go ahead and swarm a survivor, get them off the gen, or get a free hit for it. So it is super nice. I would prefer to run an all aura build than an all regression build, but I know that that is not the sentiment that a lot of people run. But the nice thing about Artist is that her build, her kit in general is just so flexible that it doesn't matter what you run as long as you're comfortable with the perks, which is what I like about her. Like, you can run full regression, you can run full information gathering, you can run an anti-heal build, you can run a hex build. There's so much to her that it doesn't matter what you run, as long as you're comfortable with the perks, you're good to go. So that's kind of like what I appreciate about her. But if it's my personal build, I run mainly aura reading. Since Houndmaster came out, I've been a Lethal Pursuer, Floods of Rage, Jagged Compass, and Pain Res if I'm running a regression perk. Unfortunately, most of the regression perks are kind of lackluster these days, especially since I don't play an M1 killer, so I can't take advantage of Jolt. But I prefer aura reading perks. My favorite would have to be Barbecue, Lethal, Nowhere to Hide. But I've also been enjoying Spring Traps newest perk, the Phantom Fear. I've been calling it the Phantom Menace perk. Phantom of Fear, where it shows the survivor screaming and then you just get to see their aura for 2 or 4 seconds. That has been super fun to run. I feel so bad for the survivors now because I kicked off pain res for that perk. It's been so fun to run.
All right. New perks are coming and people actually swapping and using them. That's crazy.
I've been running the same build since 2021, so this is it's so pathetic. Like lethal, barbecue, pain res, and pop. I feel like I did a win streak on in 2021. I would still use it in 2025, 2022 is when I think I did a win streak, but I would still use it in 2025. It's so bad. Like you're not beating the lethal barbecue combination in my opinion. It's just so good, but I have at least breaking myself of the barbecue habit. However, if I don't run it, I end up camping survivors, so I'm like I kind of need an excuse to leave, which is why I like Floods of Rage so much.
Oh, I love Floods of Rage. It's probably like that's I would say that's like the horceror TM perk if I had to choose one. I love Floods, it's so good. But like, you said that was your win streak build, but how do you feel about win streaks on Artists in general? And do you think that it's like easier compared to other killers to do win streaks, and do you still enjoy doing them? Because you said that was like 3 years ago, so maybe you've changed, I don't know.
So my win streak was accidental. I was going through my VODs to try to find some matches to upload on YouTube, and I just was like, I haven't lost a match in a while, huh? And by the time I counted it, I realized it had been like 40 or like I want to say 35-ish games that I was like, I hadn't lost. But the second that I started thinking about doing a win streak, I started second guessing myself, and I feel like my games got more difficult because I was like, oh, but I want to keep the streak going. I think the highest that I got to was like 48, but I rounded it down to 45 because I thought 45 was a prettier number than 48. But I lost on Gas Heaven, and I remember losing the chase I remember losing the game because I was chasing a Yoichi, and I was like, I would rather chase this Yoichi than win this game. And that's what happened. I was like, this chase is way too much fun. Through main building, I wasn't breaking any pallets. I was like, this is just more entertaining to try out. So I was like, I know I'm going to lose this game. I feel like win streaks on her are possible. I think there's one that's at like 150, 200. I actually don't know the full number for it, but I am not a big win streak person in general. I feel like win streaks are really cool, and I'm very proud of my friends who have done them, like Ray, Momo, and Alf. Like, I'm very proud of them for doing the win streaks that they have done. I just personally don't like them. I don't do them. I kind of feel this is why I prefer comp over win streaks, because you know what, like both sides know what needs to be done. Like you're like, oh yeah, survivor's trying to escape. There's a difference between a killer going for a win streak and a survivor trying to have fun. I feel like it's two different mindsets going in, and if people aren't on the same mindset, I don't really like the mentality of it. But I also acknowledge the fact that win streaks are pretty difficult because there's, especially now for killer, there's so many instances where if you make a mistake, you have lost the game, and it doesn't matter what happens. It's just, oh, you lost the game, like right here. Like there's been so many moments recently where I can tell that this one whiff has just lost me the match. And that's crazy because when you play Survivor, like you're able to make so many mistakes and it doesn't matter because there's so many people to pick up the slack. So I appreciate killer win streaks and I love watching them. I just personally don't do them. With the artist, I feel like it is a little bit more difficult. It's kind of like I would say a Huntress win streak, right? I don't know what the Huntress highest win streak is. I feel like my mod probably has it, Dr_Emerald. It can be done. It probably won't be done by me, just because I get bored. I actually kind of hate winning multiple times in a row. I feel like it's lame. If I lose to good survivors, I am happier than winning against bad survivors, if that makes sense. So I probably won't do win streaks. Maybe that mentality will change in a year if I get super comp about it, but I applaud people that do them. They're just not my personal cup of tea.
Yeah, I did like a very casual one, and Reaper actually kind of roasted my ass during that, because like I did one that was like a 2-tie, 3k win, and then anything lower than, if I got 2 kills, no point. If I got 1, I would lose it. If I got 3, I would gain 1. And then like, simple, casual, I didn't really care. And like, during the last episode, he actually said something along the lines of like, there's no ties, there's either you win or you lost. And I was sitting there like kind of sweating, like,
If I did a win streak, I would prefer like the harsher rules, because I don't believe in like bringing a map offering, right? Like it's not a win streak if you bring a map offering. You're playing on your best map. That's lame.
Oh no, I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was just like, I'm just having fun, and I just want to count it. So
I think Momo's was a 3k is fine as long as the survivor doesn't escape through the exit gate. If they escape through the exit gate, that's a loss. And I kind of agree with that. Like 3k, but with Hatch is fine. But a 3k and they did all the gens and went through the exit gate is a loss. I feel like that would end. I would want to be strict with it if I'm really going to go for it.
That's fair. I was just doing a casual one. I don't really like it. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really enjoy it.
I know I'm supposed to make it a 3v1 at 5 gens, but I feel bad. I'm like, I just tunneled this poor Hattie out of the game. She didn't know what we were doing. And I also hate running 4 regression perks, and I kind of feel like you have to if you're doing a win streak, because like the first gen is lost 30 seconds into the game no matter what you do. It's ridiculous. So I prefer aura reading. I prefer having fun chases, and I enjoy the aspect of the game rather than winning or losing. Because I feel like I've won on every single map, and I've lost on every single map, and I've won to people with 20,000 hours, and I've lost to people with 20 hours. Like, what more can be done truly in the game?
You're more of a playstyle enjoyer and having fun with the game type of deal.
Yeah, I prefer the playstyle of it.
But when we're not talking about the playstyle, how about Carmina Mora's lore? Are you a Carmina Mora Laura enjoyer at all? Or is it just gameplay?
I appreciate her lore. I'm friends with Pixelbush, so obviously I've been privy to a lore rant a time or two. But I appreciate her lore. I love what she stood up for and how she got her like I love that. No, but how she got her hands and her tongue cut out because she was rising against the fascist regime of her country, like that, and how she was making like guerrilla art just to contradict people that were affecting like her livelihood. I appreciate that much of her lore. My only issue is the fact that her lore technically ties her to Jonah, who I hate. So that's probably my caveat against it. But like her relationship with her little brother and like why she does the things that she does is really admirable. So I do love her as a character. I love her lore, and I like that she's just one of the killers that's being forced to do so, like being forced to kill because of the entity. Like that is super. I'm super appreciative of that because I feel like it's just, you know, just another layer to her bird sandwich. But I like DbD lore, but I feel like they have kind of fallen off on it, so I haven't really kept up with it.
They need to do a bit more lore for the lore to actually be interesting, is the thing.
Well, yeah, like the casting of Frank Stone, I was actually genuinely very excited about. I love the Supermassive games. I was very excited about casting of Frank Stone. The only issue is that it ended up being an Easter egg hunt for DbD lore. Like there was nothing that we didn't know added to the game, which I thought was super frustrating. Like we know what the entity is. We know that the entity scouts people. We know that the entity takes people, but we didn't get anything from it. I was really excited to hear more about the cult. I was really excited to hear just anything else. And they were just more of like, oh, didn't you see this little doll? Doesn't it look like the hillbilly? Aren't you guys happy you spent $50 on this game? And you're like, not really. The ending was kind of unsatisfactory, which I understand with the Supermassive games, the fact that it is like gonna be the same ending. It just kind of depends on who lived or who died. But it was very lackluster in my eyes, the fact that we'd went through all of that, and no matter what, they're just back at the campfire, which again, I understand is the point of like Dead by Daylight, is no matter what, you're back at the campfire. But it was very lackluster. Like I genuinely was very excited for casting of Frank Stone, but we didn't learn anything else lore-wise. So it was like, what's the point?
Yeah, kind of just remember the Dead by Daylight? Remember what it's from?
Remember DbD? Don't you love DbD? I kind of have this issue a lot with behavior stuff though, because like the Meet Your Maker, right? Like they didn't market it to people who like Minecraft. They marketed it to people who play Dead by Daylight. They're like, oh, you play Dead by Daylight?
And it wasn't a DbD game at all.
Yeah, it wasn't a DbD game at all. So it's like, oh, how is this a fail, right? I have a lot of issue with the things that DbD proposes because or behavior proposes, because they're like, oh, well, if you play DbD, please play this other game. Please play this other game. And you're like, I want to play DbD. I will enjoy things that you put out that's DbD related, but you're also not making DbD stuff, or the DbD stuff that you do make, you don't add on to it. Like, where's the second DLC for the dating sim behavior? Where's that? I want that for lore.
People would play that, yeah.
People would play it. I don't. And dating sims are one of the easiest games to make because it's all art based. And like a little bit of narration, but I like the lore and I appreciate Carmina's lore, but I kind of feel like DbD's fallen off with lore.
And I'm not going to go any further with this when I say it, but like it's still so wild to me. The Spirit just has a canonical foot fetish in that game. Like,
yeah, and I had to deal with that because we romance Spirit.
I mean, I respect it. I respect them going with that because they make the jokes about all the cosmetics being like, oh, everyone has their feet out. Does behavior have a foot fetish? And with the best segue the world has ever seen, how do you feel about the artist cosmetic options?
I feast with their cosmetics. It's actually disgusting how well fed I get. Like they forget about the artist However, I am able to get good cosmetics time and time again, so I'm very appreciative to whatever developer is holding out for a real one, because it is super nice to get good cosmetics. She doesn't have a single bad cosmetic. Like, I feel like some killers really get shafted or they just don't get anything at all. And I'm very thankful that she's not a licensed killer, because that means that I just don't get anything, even though that'd be better for my wallet.
Must be nice.
Didn't you got the blighted Nemesis and you just got classic Nemesis?
Don't bring up the fucking blighted Nemesis. That's gonna fucking suck a dick, okay? The only reason people ran it is because there were no other options, but now we have an actual good one.
But everything about her is delicious. She just looks so cute, all of them. I don't like any of the cosmetics that distort her face though. My personal like Carn skin is the Greek Legends dress, the bloody chin, and then the mournful blade, which is part of his Amazon Prime cosmetic that has not been added back into the game. I don't know why. Like, it was the first Amazon Prime offering that they did back when they still did them. And they just haven't added it back. I don't know if they forgot about it or what, but it is the best weapon. And I always feel really bad when people are like, what weapon is that? I've never seen it before. And I'm like,
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? I'm like, sorry, it's the mournful blade, and it's never going to be seen in this game ever again. Apologies, friend. But she got the Leshen with the Witcher collection, and she's about to get the Boulay Brothers collab, which looks so beautiful. Unfortunately, I'm not spending any money on it. I don't have any money to spend on it. I'm not doing it.
But you got the Leshen, right?
I let my chat vote. I was like, guys, we're buying one or the other. If we either buy the Leshen or we buy the Boulay Brothers skin, one or the other. We're not buying both. We don't have stop with the McDonald's money. I can't keep buying every single cosmetic we have in the game. And they voted Leshen.
We have skins at home.
We have skins. No, it is ridiculous how many cosmetics I have in this game. Because I have all of Michaela's, I have all of Sable's, I have all of Toledo's, almost all of Meg's. Artists I have too many of. I'm like, I have every Susie skin.
I have all of Nemesis's.
Yeah. All $20 worth of it. I have almost every Susie cosmetic in this game. Like, I'm like, guys, we gotta be done somewhere. We putting our foot down. So she has very good cosmetics. They're beautiful, and whatever developer behavior is really putting their behavior into it, because there hasn't been a single miss.
Wow, okay. Well, if we're putting our behavior into an artist cosmetic, I do want to ask real quick, a last thing of this section is, if you had complete 100% executive control to make an artist skin, what would it be?
Ooh. See, I would have said something Junji Ito, and then we got Miss Fuchi. So that's so difficult. Hold on, give me a second. Ooh, okay. I'm a big Naruto person. I would love a Kaguya skin. I think that I don't know if I've seen Naruto, but she's like,
of course I've seen Naruto.
Okay, well, she's the final, she's the big bad at the end.
The final boss, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be the most beautiful thing, with the long white hair. Oh my god, yeah. If I had to choose. Naruto's not a horror anime though, so unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But if I had to choose like from an anime,
it's just the crack pick.
The crack pick. Yeah, like a
crack ship, so a crack pick.
Yeah. I feel like it'd still be relatively popular, but there's like so many other horror animes that they would choose before that. Like, I'm really hoping for a Chainsaw Man collab or like a Jujutsu Kaisen collab. More so Chainsaw Man, because I feel like that would fit better than Jujutsu Kaisen. But yeah, if I had to choose, I would love a Kaguya skin.
And I will say, a lot of skins like that, I don't really get where they're coming from. Obviously, some people accept that, like, this is an insane ask, I'm not gonna lie. But then, like, I do think a lot of what Dead by Daylight does is, like, I think I would prefer the whole, like, actual horror media getting in first, and then, like, every once in a while we have a little treat. Like, we're getting, like, some cat-related thing soon.
Yeah, the Night of, like, Neon Night?
Night
of the Living Dead.
Yeah, but like that's like a little for fun side thing to me. But like, we were just talking about this with Darth Vader, and like, I do think that behavior could cook on him, but I don't want him in the game because there's just so much. I always feel like kind of a ding dong when I say this, but like, I feel like there's more deserving properties that should get in first, like Jason or The Thing or Dead Space, like horror, capital H, rather than like, this is a terrifying character in like a maybe less so thing, Not
to be a nerd, but they have proposed The Thing in Dead by Daylight, but they said that they wouldn't do a mimic killer because the power would be completely negated by the fact that you can just have comms. And then Jason is not necessarily like a behavior thing. It's more of a lawsuit thing. Just Dead Space though. I feel like that would be actually kind of gas. I think like Alien is one of the scariest movies in my opinion. So I feel like Dead Space would be so interesting to see. But if they add another space map in this game, I might throw up because I love Nostromo, but I hate Nostromo, you know?
Well, that's like an on-planet map. I feel like Dead Space, it would have to be the Ishimura. It would be a spaceship. Like,
yeah, but that's even worse because now we're just in the middle of space.
The final frontier.
I don't like space.
Oh, okay.
but anyway, where I was going with that, I was segueing in a very roundabout way, but like just kind of a misconception about like what I feel like should be in Dead by Daylight. But in general, like, do you think there's any misconceptions about artists specifically? Like, that you do wish people understood about the killer that just kind of seems like common sense to you with all your hours, and just like if there's a common grievance people have against them and there's obvious counterplay that isn't being used, just like stuff like that. If you could just tell everyone like one specific thing that you want to clear up real quick, what would it be?
She's not just a dead zone killer, and I feel like okay, baby birdies definitely tried to dead zone a lot, and I completely understand why they do that, because you're like, I don't know what else to do here. Understandable. I feel like there's so much more to her than just being in a dead zone and forcing like her doing the herding dog technique. This is basically just like a technique that I recommend is survivors are going to flinch away from your crows. So if you aim it towards a loop that you're not confident at, 9 times out of 10 they'll abandon that loop because they're worried about what you could possibly do. It's a full fake out basically. So I have seen a lot of baby birdies use the herding dog technique to basically dead zone the survivor. And I understand why they do that, because eventually you're just like, fuck, what else am I going to do here? There's so much more to her. There's so much to her kit, and there's so much that you can do with her besides just placing a crow to pallet and collecting for profit. So I kind of feel like it's more of a allow the artist to have fun, and I feel like you'll have fun sort of thing. Like there's so much that you could be doing with her and going against her that it's not just going to be like a oh, she just places a crow and she gets to do whatever she wants now. Like there's actual counterplay to her that can be fun for both sides.
And with baby birdies, is there anything specific, like just a very basic tip aside from the don't do the hurting a dog thing?
Patience.
Like, is there any very basic advice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I say that as I
No, you're
don't
fine.
fucking have patience. No, I'm sorry. Ask the question. Ask the question. Ask the question.
Okay. Is there any very basic advice you would want to give new baby birdies to playing the artist for the first time?
Having patience. I say this as someone who doesn't have patience. If you
And you did just cut me off 3 times, I promise.
ask the question faster. Let's go, Horcer. Let's go. Come on.
Okay, I'm trying. I'm Unk in my old age. Leave me alone.
You're younger than me.
They call me Unk, okay?
Well, my apologies. Anyway, patience, young Padawan. I don't have patience, and I fuck up all the time where I'm like, I didn't mean to send that crow off. I just got excited. But
That's real as fuck.
watching the survivors do what they do, basically. Like you have to adapt each chase to each survivor because everyone loops differently. However, I do say this after my 5,000 hours. Certain skins of survivors, because they're all reskin of each other, they play the same. I don't know what it is, but like Nancy's play the same, Aces play the same, Addons play the same. Like there's just something. Sables play the same, Leon's. There's just something about a certain skin of survivor that like makes the survivors play the same. So you can kind of adapt that to, and people are gonna be like, no, they're just reskins of each other. I don't know what it is, but when I wear Elodie, I am a juicer. I'm a juicer in my little Christmas fit, right? There's just something about her.
Yeah, absolutely. Same with the Zarina one.
Yeah, they're just juicers, right? I kind of feel like some survivors are stronger than others, but watch what survivors are doing. Be patient with your crows. Don't second guess yourself, because I've also watched this whenever I do, because I don't know if I have the channel point redemption anymore, but I had a channel point redemption where people would submit their matches to me and I would tell them like what they did right and what they did wrong. And there's so many times where I'm watching them that they second guess their crow placement. They place another one, but the first one hits, right? And I'm like, if you had just trusted the fact that your initial instinct was correct, it would have been so much more beneficial for it. So I would say trust, faith, pixie dust, and patience is probably like the biggest key.
Trust in the Force, Luke.
Trust in the Force, I say as I cut you off because you weren't asking the question exactly at the speed that my ADD needs you to.
But yeah, cool. And you were also just before this, and I had like two threads to pull, and this is just the one I went on first. But when you're talking about playing against the artist and like the common misconception stuff about like letting the artist play how they want to and like, you know, kind of countering it because there's counterplay and stuff like, you know, jumping into a locker to get rid of a bird swarm from across the map. Sure. But for Survivor, is there any perk specifically that directly counters your killer, and just in general advice that you would give to survivors playing against artists for the first time? I'm not saying like you have to give every secret away, but just like advice for that, I guess.
It's not necessarily a perk, but an item. The keys with the blood amber, I noticed that the survivors that do the best against me have that, because a lot of going against the artist is breaking line of sight and hold W, which you can counter eventually with like some game sense. So the nice thing about the blood amber is that you're able to see what direction she's placing her crows in, and you can kind of avoid it even if you can't see what's going on. So it's not necessarily a perk as it is an item that really helps. But I also feel like blood ambers really do help with a lot of killers, so this isn't anything new. But I would say that's probably my biggest counter.
And that's just blood amber rather than like a perk specifically, like Pebble for Nemesis. Because, you know, go on, boy, fetch. And more so on the survivor side of things, but like you do say that you're kind of more of a 50-50 player because you don't want to develop a big head or something for being a one-sided main. But when you play survivor against your main, do you enjoy playing against them, and just like how does that usually go?
I am so bad at going against artists, and I always feel really bad because most of them do know who I am, because I am so excited at the fact that somebody is playing artist that I'm not paying attention to my looping. I'm watching what they're doing, but not in the way that I can counter them. More of like, I'm so excited that they're playing artists and I want to watch what they're doing, that it is now a 3v2, because there has been like, I've literally stood at the top of the building of Garden of Joy and watched my teammates loop just at the different pallets and the different tiles that are near the main building, because I'm just so enamored by the fact that someone is playing artist that I don't care I don't care about the match anymore, right? So I am bad, and if you've ever gone against me as the artist and you're like, how did she go down? This is her main. I'm not paying attention. I'm watching what you're doing. I don't care anymore. I just want to watch you loop. And like I can loop relatively well, but I also have this like innate, I don't want to do this specific loop, or I don't want to loop this specific way, because even though I know it'll do well, I'm bored. Like I don't want to leave the loop. Like I want to play at the jungle gym or the shack pallet that I know I'm going to die at. Like that's more fun to me than just being like, oh, I baited her to sight in her crow and then now I'm leaving, or like running a main building. Like that's boring to me. So I'm not the best. I feel like it's not like I'm going on a 5-gen chase against an artist, but I enjoy going against Birdies because I'm happy that someone else is playing her.
But when you're playing a survivor, or maybe not you specifically, but I will say for like a regular run-of-the-mill average Joe, what is the most frustrating part about playing against the artist for survivors from the survivor's point of view?
There are some scenarios where there's nothing you can do, and I know that survivors hate having that option taken away from them, because she really is a rock and a hard place killer, and this happens all the time where I'm like, are they going to take the M1 or are they going to take the crow chance? And like, I'd rather them take the crow chance, but they usually just take the M1, and I know that people hate that, which is why people hate going against her so much. There are certain loops that there's nothing you can do at, which is why people leave so often, but like the amount of times that I just don't break shack pallet is insane, and like there's not many killers that can take advantage of that. So I know why people don't like to go against her, and I know it's very frustrating to be like, it's either I'm getting hit by a crow or getting M1'd and there's nothing I can do about it, but them's the breaks, you know?
And last survivor question, I do promise, but recently with the Springtrap patch, they're kind of addressing the whole going next epidemic thing and people leaving the match early, and now that you can't really take chances on hooks anymore, and it's going to be more like disconnect heavy, but just in general, how has the Go Next epidemic treated you as an artist main? Like, have you seen that like more people than often are disconnecting or previously going next on hook against your killer, and just like how has that really been for you? Because I don't play artists, I don't know how it is.
To be honest, I think that you can play the video game however you want. It is a video game. I know that it is very frustrating, and it does kind of suck on the killer end, because you're like, I'm waiting 10 minutes and someone gave up at 5 gens. Like that is very frustrating to deal with, and I'm not going to discredit that. I feel like the Go Next epidemic, if you don't want to be in the game, there's nothing I can do about that. I can't change the killer that I'm playing. I can't change the way that I play, and I'll try to be nice as much as I possibly can. Like as much as I joke about the back to hook gaming, I don't really tunnel all that often. Like I'm going for the person that unhooked you.
Yeah, that's what Floods is for, exactly.
Yeah, I don't want the person that just freshly got off the hook. I feel like if you don't want to, if you get to the point where you're like, every single killer is making me upset, or like I'm not having a fun day, or like I'm so tired of this, then I think that the best thing to do is just get off the game. But I also know that sometimes you're like, I do want to play DbD. It just sucks that there's so much going against me right now that I can't enjoy the game that I do genuinely enjoy. So I think if people don't want to play DbD, they don't want to play DbD. If you want to go next, if you want to AFK, if you want to be done with whatever killer is really popular right now, or you're like really tired of this, like I get it. Absolutely. I am so empathetic to it. But it doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me and I don't really care that survivors do it. Like I understand why people don't like it. But again, it's a video game, right? There's nothing to say that there's no life or death situation at hand. It's a video game. So if people don't want to play against me, they don't want to play against me. I don't take it personally. Like I get it. So I think the implement, I know it just got kill switched, but the implementation of the the go next prevention, I guess I understand why it is a good thing, but if you want to go next, you want to go next. If you don't want to play, you don't want to play. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change your mindset. But I also I acknowledge that there's so much frustrating these survivors in the games. Like sometimes I'll have really miserable games as killer, and I'll play a match of survivor, and then I'll go against really miserable killers, and I'm like, this is why they're acting like this. Now I understand it. Like
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing.
DbD is so cyclical. Like especially when I watch my survivor main friends, like the amount of times that their teammates are just getting relentlessly tunneled out of the game and there's nothing they can do about it. And I'm like, this is why everyone's really upset. Or I kind of understand why at one bad inconvenience after a night of inconveniences, you just kind of want to be done with certain killers. What can you do?
With being nice about it and just oh, hey, maybe they don't want to, they're having a bad night or whatever, and you try to be nice. But is there anything in particular about artists that you think would cause something like that? I know there's it is rare, but ornithophobia, the fear of birds, I get that. I just, I'm making the whole accessibility thing and I'm asking people for stuff. Just in general, is there anything you think that artists would need changed? This can be accessibility toggles, anything in our kit, balance, vibe, just whatever. Do you think there's anything problematic about artists in Dead by Daylight, or is there anything you would change, basically?
I'm selfish and I would love to have a nice little period where I'm just having the dumbest luck for balance changes. So I don't care what anyone says. I think Severed Hand should be base kit. I think that would be hilarious. So I think it should be made base kit. I would really like to see some changes to our Eerie add-ons. My dream Eerie add-on is where I only have one crow and no matter where I hit them, it's a hell state. That would be hilarious. I think that would be so funny. I'm just hitting you across the map and you lose a hell state from it. That would be so blissful. I would like Matias's baby boots to be changed to a glowing concoction add-on, glowing concoction. I know I've mentioned that multiple times, but it's genuinely probably one of my biggest please give this to me. I promise I could be trusted with it. But I would like to see some changes in her add-ons. Her base kit is honestly very fine. Even if she has gotten power crept, I enjoy her so much that I don't really mind it, and I don't want her to get changed because I don't want to lose the things that make artist. I feel like that has been an unfortunate running thing with behavior where they will change things about a killer and then the people that enjoyed playing them initially no longer have a killer that they like playing. And I feel like that would genuinely be so devastating. If I woke up and artist was 110 and they changed so much about her, I probably wouldn't play DbD. I don't think I would have played DbD this long if I probably would have been a variety streamer, right? But I just love playing DbD so much and I love playing the artist so much. So I don't think I would have been a full DbD streamer if artist had never been added into the game. That's how integral she is to my gameplay.
Or if she got trickstered.
If she got trickstered, I think it would be devastating because I know so many trickster mains that are I no longer enjoy playing this killer and people don't like going against me and it just makes everything about this experience miserable. So I would love to see some changes to her add-ons and I would love certain things to be made base kit, but I am fine if she's if she stays the way that she is. Just because I unfortunately don't have a lot of faith, trust, or pixie dust in some of the in behavior making the correct changes, which sucks to say, especially as a someone who plays a specific video game from this development company that I just feel I don't trust things to not get changed in a way that would be fun to deal with, but I'm fine if she doesn't get changed. There's things that I would like, but I'm okay if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, the Freddy change was pretty good. I liked bias. I like the Nemesis buffs in fucking whatever patch it was. I think it was 6.7, where he gets rewarded for using his power now. Wow.
Crazy.
But like the Trickster one sucked. Sadako is getting another change. Skull Merchant's bleeding out behind the barn. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot going on with updates and changes. And there was actually a recent one that obviously know where I'm going with this. To the artist, where they were like doing an add-on pass for her, right? And they rolled it back when every artist player said this sucked nuts. But just in general, since artists' beginnings and when she came to the game to now, how have updates treated you? How have they treated the artist? And would you say that any like buffs and nerfs and changes that she's gotten since her inception have been fair or not?
Yeah, they proposed a lot of changes. So she is kind of a forgotten patch note in behavior's eyes. I can count on one hand the times that she has been changed and mentioned in patch notes in general. The first time was so Severed Hands was initially like bugged. So if anyone got swarmed anywhere, every survivor on the map got swarmed. I think I should have stayed in the game, but I don't think anyone remembers that bug.
Okay, held on now.
No, I don't think anyone remembers that bug, but that was so fun to deal with as like artist. It was so funny. She was mentioned then. Light burning got taken away, so she was mentioned as a footnote because you could used to be able to light burn her crows, but now you can't anymore. They changed Ink Egg's idle timer from being minus 4 seconds to now -2 seconds. And then that was it. Two changes that were made. There was changes to Ink Egg, and then it was changes to the crows being light burned. And then a couple of bug changes. That's really about it. So this add-on pass that they proposed would have been like the most significant thing done to her, and it kind of sucked. So there really hasn't been much change to her, and I'm fine with that. I am a creature of habit, and I like that.
But the other side of things that change in DbD, the things that are not the artist. So how would you say she has kept up with things? You said she got power crept a little bit earlier, but as far as like perks, maps, reworks, not that she's had one, like how has that impacted artists and her performability and her play rate and her enjoyment for you personally, just with all the new shit coming to the game around her rather than to her specifically?
To be honest, I think that my biggest issue has been the maps that have been implemented. They've just been very like annoying to play on. Visually, they're stunning, beautiful, gorgeous maps. Like the newest, like the Sable map. I don't remember the name of it. The one with the movie theater. Greenville, beautiful map, kind of annoying to play on. Not the worst, but like, you know, there's a pallet every 2 feet, and it's huge. It is massive. I don't like the new Ormond to play on. There's just a lot of elevation changes, and it's really weird to navigate. The FNAF map is also very weird to navigate. And again, there's pallets every 2 feet. So it's like, what are you going to do? I kind of feel like the maps that have been implemented have been the biggest devastation, because a lot of artists is predictive reasoning. And the maps are just have such big variables implemented in their coding that it's been kind of annoying to try to deal with from a killer standpoint. But the perks that have been kind of put into the game haven't been terrible. I'm trying to think, like the fact that killer hasn't really had much added to their meta has been kind of annoying. Like there hasn't been a good regression perk added in a minute, like that has been fun to run, right? And like one of her best perks was her own perk, like pain res. That was probably the most efficient regression to use on her, and now it just isn't really worth bringing half the time anymore, right? You can't really use jolt on her. Eruption doesn't do anything. Like the amount of times that eruption is activated and then like the survivors immediately pop the gen is insane nowadays. Ruin, survivors know where totem spawn like almost immediately, and you can do pretty good hex defense with the artist, but I feel like the lack of regression perks being used is kind of annoying to deal with, because the chases can be super quick, but the survivors are demons on these gens lately. So the matches are over before they begin, and you're like, you guys didn't even play that well, and you escaped, which is kind of one of my bigger pet peeves, is the fact that like survivors aren't playing well, but they escaped, and it's like, who won here? But the maps being really difficult to loop on have been super annoying, and the changes in elevation that they keep proposing have been super difficult. But the power creep just kind of comes from also the new killers that keep getting added, so she kind of just keeps getting knocked down and considered weaker and weaker as time goes on.
Yeah, and survivors need to be stronger because they're getting Ghoul, Blight, Nurse, Billy every other game. It's like, well, I'm here, I'm the Nemesis, hello. And I don't know, if there was a game like complete pipe dream version of DbD for me is a one that's balanced around somehow no regression perks and no exhaustion perks. That would be that's like my in the future like utopia city Dead by Daylight, is if it was somehow just no exhaustion and no regression, and they somehow balance around it. That would be beautiful for me. Because like I literally run Languid just because I don't enjoy playing against exhaustion perks, because it feels like shit when it's just like, oh, I'm doing really well in this chase and you just extended it by 30 seconds for free because you had life. So that's cool. But then it's the power creep thing. So I don't have a great segue for this one. I know, first time this time. I've at least been trying, but really I have like 3 questions left, so I can't really think of one for this. But do you think that playing Artist and having as many hours as you have on Artist has given you transferable gameplay skills to other killers? And a little bit of a crack question, but has it also given you other skills in other games, or is it just like a DbD exclusive?
DbD exclusive. DbD is not really a transferable game. It's not like being good at Valorant or CSGO and be able to go back and forth between the games, unfortunately. There is nothing else like DbD, so you can't really do anything. Even some of the other asymmetrical horror games, like, they don't really play the same. But no, I am a notorious one trick. I don't like playing M1 killers. I don't like playing the 110 killers. I don't even like the other range killers. So it is just Artist for me. I can be fine on Nemesis. I am bad at Huntress. I'm bad at Duslinger. I'm moderately okay at Trickster, but I feel like he's a free 4K half the time anyway. But I kind of feel like she is pretty standard in and of itself, where it's just her. Like, there's no other killer like her. So there's nothing really to transfer with. Like, maybe the aiming part you can kind of get by with Huntress or Pyramid Head, which I feel like Pyramid Head's probably like the closest second. But it's unfortunately just Artists. There's nothing else really, which I'm kind of fine with because I don't like playing the other killers anyway. But unfortunately, it's not like, oh, I'm good at Freddy, so I'm good at Trapper, so I'm good at Legion. It's just she's just a range killer. That's pretty standard.
Yeah, like you can get 115 fundamentals, but it's not going to be like anything actually using the power worth. Okay.
No, I'm pretty like when I play M1 killers, I don't break pallets, and then I'm wondering why the chase is going so long.
That's real though. That really is real. Speaking of going so long, segued, how long do you think Dead by Daylight is going to last, like as a whole, as a game? Because we just had 2 days ago. We just had 2 days ago the biggest chapter release that we've ever had, even surpassing the Resident Evil numbers, being Springtrap. And we still have a free weekend for Dead by Daylight coming up in a couple days, which is the 21st of June 2025 if you're watching this in the future. So how long do you think Dead by Daylight is going to last as a game as a whole? Because it's been going we're coming up on our 9th anniversary here.
I feel like DbD has a solid 3 or 4 years left, in my opinion. The latest releases of killers have obviously been very profitable and like very lucrative. I mean, again, Springtrap breaking the Resident Evil record is absolutely insane. But I feel like DbD is how do I describe this? It is definitely a powder keg, or like it's bottlenecking itself, right? Like, there really isn't much more for it to do besides add killers and add perks, and the game loop is pretty closed. And I know that they try to liven up things with the limited time modes, but the limited time modes are actually what's ruining the game for me, because it's just constant split queue. Like, it's constantly like, oh, we're in 2v8, oh, we're in Chaos Shuffle, oh, now we have this event going on. Like, I don't like that the core loop is being taken away from me because I have to deal with the split queue. I think DbD has a solid 3 years left, and I do wish, not because I want the game to fail, but I wish that the game would have some semblance of competition so that things wouldn't feel as stale. I kind of feel like TCM maybe had a chance to do so, and I could go on about how TCM failed because I knew it was going to fail from the start. But VHS, I knew it was going to fail. Like, they're Killer Clowns, unfortunately, too, which I actually really liked Killer Clowns, but they haven't really had good competition. And what I think I think not having good competition causes people to be stagnant. And we will keep eating what they're feeding us. And I still very much love DbD and I'm very appreciative of it. But I also kind of feel like its best days are about to be behind them. And then we'll just kind of see the decrease of it.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Like, I think it could last forever in theory, but like, unless they have competition to actually like drive them to improve, it's going to be difficult. As you said, it is kind of a game that, like, while, yeah, it does have a dedicated player base, it's extremely hard to get into as a new player, and this current patch didn't exactly help with that, with the whole literally punishing you for getting tunneled as a new player that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think the fact that there's so much to DBD, like I've had so many new people in my chat recently too, where they're like, oh, is DBD worth getting into? Or I want to try to get into DBD, or I've been trying to get into DBD and I just don't get it. You need 1,000 hours before you're not considered a baby in this game, and even then you're still a baby. And what video game can you say that after 1,000 hours, right? There's so much to this game that it is so daunting to get into, and eventually we will run out of new people to play this game, and then it'll just kind of be a bunch of old jaded people fighting against each other. Obviously, I'm not even like, oh, I'm a high MMR player. But obviously I play at a certain MMR, so I don't go against babies all that often. But when I do go against babies, I feel for them so hard, because it's like, how do you go from a tutorial where you're facing against a trapper and then you get a crow shoved up you and there's nothing you can do even though you're across the map? You're like, how am I supposed to counter this? Like, you don't get it. Or like, you're going against a trapper and then like Blight is going against you at Mach speed, right? There's so much to DBD that, or like, doesn't prepare you to deal with, and it kind of it definitely sucks.
And it's just kind of, I wish they had a better tutorial. That's like one of my main asks.
Yeah, but it's like, what do you do?
Because like, how do you? Yeah, there's no like, I would enjoy like an increased tutorial for every killer. That would be cool. But in general, like my big last question here, my final one that I have for you here is like, what would make you quit Artist completely and forever and never pick her up again?
I think her becoming 110 would probably do it for me. I don't think I've had fights with my chat with this for multiple times where like, I don't think that she deserves to be 110 because she doesn't have a very consistent direct hit phase, but I can see somebody at Behavior proposing making her 110, and I think that would probably do it for me, because it would just be so miserable to play as, because she loses so much distance when she sets off her crows that sometimes she isn't able to get back, and I think that would be genuinely frustrating. So if they change that, if they changed, like they almost the changes that they proposed to Severed Hands were also like very devastating, because it is my favorite add-on, but they also changed like the way that you're able to hit survivors to where like they want more direct hits rather than like long distance hits. Like if they make it so that you can't hit down or hit a survivor after 30 meters, I'd be like, well, what's the point then if I'm not able to do long range stuff? Like those would be the changes where I'm like, this isn't very fun for me. But I think if I stop playing Artist, I stop playing DbD.
That makes sense. I'd kind of be the same. Like if they remove the whip drag, like I'm gonna become the Joker. Like I would instantly go from like positive Nemesis content to like behavior needs to blow up. But yeah, that's kind of all I have for you today as far as questions go. I want to say thank you for coming on and being here for the Artist section of Stars of the Fog. Always and forever. I can talk about her for a very long time. I didn't even really get to anything that we could have talked about, but I really appreciate you thinking of me, because I love the Artist and I love everything about her. So I'm always down to talk about her. And yeah, now just for the outro, if you want to share like your links, where people can find you, a little sneak preview of anything you're working on soon, go for it, and time's all yours. I'm just here to listen. Of course. I'm Carniveris on everything. I'm Carniveris on everything on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Those are my most active social medias. I am looking to update my artist guide. It was kind of put on the back burner because they proposed changes, but now they're getting taken away. And then since we talked about reworks, I am working on a video where it'll be like my perfect rework on like what I think should be changed. So that hopefully I will have coming out soon. But yeah, it really is just me playing Artists and having fun, and then seeing what behavior keeps throwing at us to deal with. I do hope for a bright future of Artists changes if they ever happen, but if not, that'd be cool too. Real. But yeah, now to everyone here listening, I appreciate your support very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for keeping up with this whole series as long as it's been going, and I hope you have a very lovely rest of your day, morning, noon, evening, night, whatever it might be, wherever you might be. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye. Goodbye.